computer, or if you're the kind of person that can just kind of follow along and pick it up, do that. We're going to talk about how to actually color grade our footage, both in Premiere and in Rush. And we're going to talk about the assignment that we are going to do for it as well. So let me delete Vincent out of here. And basically, if we switch this here, our workspace, this is kind of the workspace. We've been working in the editing workspace, and for our transitions, we worked in the effects workspace. And for our titles and stuff, we worked in the graphics workspace of Premiere. But today we are going to work in the color workspace. And so what I did is what you guys are going to do, which is you're going to go get one shot of something that has some really nice color values in it. Maybe it's some flowers, maybe it's some kids' toys outside. Shooting outside in the sun is probably your best bet for a good range of colors, nice and bright. You know, in your camera will probably perform better in the sun as well, as opposed to, you know, inside our houses where it's generally pretty dark and shady. And you're going to take that one shot that you get, and you're going to put it on your timeline 3 times. So let me zoom out here and put it at my beginning of my timeline right there at the 0 mark. And doesn't want to let it go to the 0 mark for some reason. There we go. And I'm going to do it 2 more times. So same shot, boom, boom, same shot, boom, boom. So I have my shot of my flowers 3 times, just kind of loops. 1, 2, 3, same shot 3 times. And then I'm going to go to the color workspace up here, and that opens up my different color controls over here on the right. And I'm going to basically do what they did in our journal video today. I am going to create 3 different looks and then put 3 different pieces of music under them and try to kind of create 3 different kind of moods, different moods using the same footage, really. And then right now I'm going to be adjusting the very first shot because that is the one that I'm looking at, and that's the one that's highlighted. And then when I'm done, I'll go to the second shot, and then I'll go to the third shot. But right now we're going to start the first shot. I hit the color tab, and I've got all these choices over here. I've got basic correction. So if I click basic correction, it opens it up. If I click the word basic correction again, it closes it. I've got creative. I can close that, and curves. Those are the big 3. These 3 down here, I don't really mess with that much. You can get real crazy with these, but that's kind of a little bit beyond us today. I kind of want to stick with these basic, creative, and curves. So let's start with the first one, basic correction. And you see the very first slider that we have control of is temperature. And this is the color temperature of the light in the shot. And when it's at 0, it kind of treats white light as white. And you see it kind of shades to orange and shades to blue on this side line. So if I drag this little dot to the orange, it kind of warms the footage up, right? I can get really warm with it. If I slide it the other way, it can cool the footage down and make it really cold. And this is a really easy way to kind of you know, adjust the mood of a scene, right? If you want to make it a little more romantic, make it a little more inviting, a little more homey feeling, right? Alive, you go warm. If you want to make it feel maybe a little more distant, a little more aloof, a little more dead, you can kind of make it feel a little more cold. It kind of reminds me of when we watched Gladiator early in the year and Maximus was transitioning between, you know, this world and the afterlife, and this world was warm and gold, and then whenever they would cut to the afterlife, it kind of had that bluish tint. So they were messing with the temperature of the shot there. And you can see in our color wheel, right, blue and orange are of course opposite colors. They, whoops, come back here. They are opposing each other on the wheel. Orange is optimism, interest, anticipation, joy, whereas blue is disapproval, sadness, grief, distraction, pensiveness, right? Those 2 are kind of opposites from one another. The second choice you can mess with is the tint, which vacillates between green and purple. You don't see this one messed with as much, but those are obviously opposites as well. The green and the reddish purple are kind of opposite each other on the wheel as well, right? Kind of in this direction as opposed to the blue and orange going this direction. I do see people pushing the tint into the green sometimes to kind of give things like a sci-fi, matrixy, sickly look. Don't really see a ton of purple happening, or like green's good for horror, zombie movies and stuff as well. I think Fight Club had a little bit of a green bronze tint to it in the scenes that we watched. So you can mess with that as well. I'm going to put that back to 0. So it's just back to normal. And if you just mess these up and you don't like it, you can always just push this little kind of loopy back circle button. And that's the reset button. I'll put everything back. Down here, you kind of have the more basic things like exposure, which is brightness, contrast, which is like how much gray there should be. If you put the contrast really high, it pushes either everything like to really dark and really bright, or if you go to negative contrast, it kind of lets everything kind of muddle in the middle. Highlights adjust just the bright values and how bright they are. Shadows adjusts only dark values. So you see, when I adjust highlights and shadows, I can still keep things really, really bright, or I can bring the brights up and kind of make it gray. Reset that. Whites and blacks kind of do the same thing as shadows and highlights, but they're a little more specific. And then you have saturation, which is the amount of color in the shot, right? So if I push my saturation to 200, things get really, really vibrant and really, really bright. Or if I go to saturation 0, it sucks all the color out, makes it black and white. Or you can kind of just take a lot of the color out. This is I always kind of think of as like a maybe a depressed feel, right? The world's just not quite as vibrant as it once was. So for this one, I'm going to kind of combine all these things. I think I'm going to make a little bit cooler. I'm going to cool my image down a little bit. And I always like to bring my contrast up a hair. And I'm going to bring my highlights down to darken it up a little bit. And I'm going to pull some of the color out of it as well. And I would think that this is kind of like maybe a person kind of waking up from like a coma. They don't really know, kind of unsure. Kind of where they're at. Let's see if we can find. I grabbed some music before we started class to kind of. I found some different moods. Yeah, this is a good track right here for it. Let's drop this one underneath it and see how she sounds. All right, cool. All right, let's do another one here. But instead of using the basic correction tab, I'm going to use the creative tab. And on the creative tab, you have this drop-down box called look, which I think I need to, let's do this here. Let's see. Nope, not that. I don't know why it's so washed out. Let's try this really quick. Hopefully we don't cause anything to crash here. Fingers crossed, everybody. I think it's because I have the HDR on my monitor. I think if I turn HDR off, hopefully, yeah, there we go. Now things look more correct because color is important to have right. So here on the creative tab, you see the drop-down box for look, and there's all these choices, and they're kind of like in Instagram, all these different filters like Matrix Green and Matrix Mars, or, you know, Noir Low Dynamic Range, or, you know, there's all these different kind of style. You can make it look like it's shot on different types of film stock. Blue Moon, Blue Steel, that one's kind of cool. Changes the yellows almost to like a red. And you can actually find different ones that Premiere's not included with and download them and add them to your own project. You could just click browse and find one you downloaded. It's called a LUT. An LUT is a lookup table. So like if I go to the internet and I type in free Premiere LUTs, right? Here we go, 35 free LUTs for color grading videos. Color grading freebie, 65 Premiere Pro looks, 29 free LUTs for video editing. And so you can download these looks or LUTs, L-U-T, a LUT, a lookup table, and you can add them to Premiere, and you can have kind of as many as you want. So for this one, I'm going to go with that blue steel. That one looks kind of wild. You can always adjust the intensity of it. So if I put it to 0, it's kind of back to the original footage. If I go to 200, it's like really crazy blue and orange. I'm going to go kind of a little bit higher there. Faded film, no, don't like that. I'm going to sharpen it up though, right? Blurry or sharp. Vibrance, that's kind of wild. Saturation, same thing. I'm going to keep that one pretty high. And let's put this track on it here. Yeah, because this is kind of like grooving. We're kind of like on our main characters are feeling good. Everything's working out for them. Let's turn this audio down just a hair. All right, cool. And for the third set of flowers, we're going to open up the curves tab on this one. And this is where you get basically really fine control. So I can adjust the brightness, the red values, the green values, or the blue values of the image. So if I come in here to the red line, and I click and drag that down, you see that my image is sucking the red out of the image, and the opposite of red is green, so it becomes more green. Or I can push more red into it, right? And then you can set multiple points. So maybe I want the reds in the highlights, but not in the shadows. And then for green, I want to take the green out of kind of the whole image. And then for blue, I'm going to add the blue in the highlights, but not in. I'm going to keep the blue kind of regular for the rest of it, maybe. And then for white, I'm going to push some hard contrast, real pinky crazy, like that. And you can kind of create your own custom look, adjusting the colors individually so that you kind of have really fine. That's a whole job in the industry, right? A color grader is the person who basically just sits and, they'll sit with the director and they'll say, I want the reds to be brighter, I want the blues to be softer, right? And you would go in and adjust all those things. And this is kind of the first step on that journey. But it's a good way, like when you're telling your story, do you want us to feel more romance? Do you want us to feel more alone? And the colors are a big part of telling that story. So let's see here. I think I got another track. Yeah, this one here. This is like kind of intense. Let's drop this one in here. Let's turn that audio down just a hair. Right, compared to the first one. Or the second one. All right, so I've got some really nice different looking flowers here, and then I would just throw my title at the back end, color graded by me. There we go. And I could export this movie out. Right, I'm going to do that right now. And H.264, name it. I'm going to throw it on the desktop and call it color grading final. Export that sucker out. And I'm done with my assignment. Now let's do the whole thing again on a phone. Woo! Now, it's not quite as customizable on the phone, but it definitely has some nice features that the computer doesn't have. So let's add the flowers. I haven't found a good way to, let me see, do this real quick. There we go. I don't think, oh wait, duplicate, yeah, boom, duplicate, and then duplicate again. That way you have your 3 shots of the flowers or whatever it is you shoot. that has nice, bright color value in it 3 times. We're going to come down here to the bottom and click on the color tab. And you see we kind of have the same pieces of the puzzle. We have exposure, we have contrast, we have temperature, tint, vibrance, saturation. So kind of the same thing I did in the first one. So I did the temperature and I dropped it into the blue range to kind of make it a little colder. I think I bumped up the contrast. I think I kept the exposure the same. Maybe it was the saturation I dropped. Yeah, because I took some of the color out of it. There we go. Yeah, temperature, really, really blue, please. And I'll sharpen it up a little bit. There we go. And so now I've got my kind of bluish, coldish one. Let's go to shot 2 here. It also has built-in presets. So if I click built-in presets, you can kind of go through and find the ones that Rush kind of has included automatically. And I think once you click one of those, you can still mess with it. Like, so if I choose this kind of gold one, I think I can then, yeah, go and mess with the gold and make it even kind of darker. I kind of want this one to be kind of a sunsetty, nighttimey look. That's kind of cool. There we go. So they've got the built-in presets, which is kind of like the looks in Premiere, right? Having these predefined ones down there. The one thing I do really like about Rush is it makes it really easy to save. So here's our third shot. Let's do like a black and white one here. So let's find the saturation. We're going to suck all the color out of it. I'm going to mess with the vibrance because you can see that changes the colors just a little bit. I kind of like that side. I'm going to push them shadows real dark. I'm going to brighten it up a little bit. Contrast, crank that. It's kind of wild. So once you kind of create a look you like, if you go all the way to the right to options, hit create preset, and we'll call this like crazy black and white, save. Then you have your presets. So here's like ones I made earlier today. I made cool bright blue. There's crazy black and white. Here's old timey noir. Here's sunset. So you can start to kind of build up a repository of styles that you've created that look really cool and attach those to your shots. So now that I've got my 3 shots in here, I would just have to go and add some music. My first one is kind of a sad. I think I'm kind of going for sad here. So I think I'm going to track down some kind of sad music. It looks like they've added a lot of Christmas music to Rush's section. Let's see, drama. Let's do it. Classical autumn. Let's try that one. See if that gives me that kind of feeling I want here. Come here. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Love that. Now let's shorten that track up so it's just the right length for shot 1. Shot 2, kind of like a sunsetty warm vibe to this one. Let's see what we can find. You might be playing guess and check with this for a little, although I think you can click play right here and listen to it. Oh yeah. This one's called Sunshine. Oh yeah. Yep. Winner. Feeling it. Drop that one in right there. Shorten that up so it's just that one. And then my last one's the black, or I'm going to change this to black and white. Go back to my color, my presets, crazy black and white. And then we're going to go to add audio. Thriller. All right. I might turn the volume down on this bad boy just a hair, just because I like your ears. And then I'm going to throw my credits on the back end. There we go. Let's take a look. Gotta remember how to get the audio out of the original shot, because you can hear cars. You can hear me grunting because I'm kneeling down and my knees don't work so very good. There we go. This should sound better now. No more natural sound. Yeah. Oh, my timing's a little off. Check it out. See how the song started a little early? Let's see if we can clean that up. Gotta zoom in, make it look right. There we go. Booyah. Perfecto. And then I would export that using the share button at the top. Export you. Boom. Love everything about it. So, and that is the file. That's all I would need you to turn into me, would be that one exported video with those three things and the music just dropped on it. Easy peasy, just like that. So it's not anything too crazy. And really, this is a chance for you to kind of mess around with either Premiere or Rush and kind of get as comfortable as you can with it. And then there's even like if you really want to try and go crazy, you can try downloading other LUTs from Premiere from the internet, or if you just have a phone, like they mentioned in that video, there's an app called VideoGrade. I'm sure there's plenty of other free color grading apps out there for phones. But if you've got Rush, you've got all the tools you need. It's only if you want to kind of go a little bit crazier and a little bit harder. So let's see here. Let's go to Teams. And I think I can stop the recording.